Hey guys, now let's go for another recap. This is recap 6, part 1 of Triangle. Week 1, term 2, 2015, year 10. Monday, 20th of April, 2015. Had science. We had to brainstorm for the title page on health with the WHO, aka WHO organization, and its symbol where a serpent is on a rod above the globe from the aspect from the North Pole. Then I had English, got new seating arrangements. I was lost and didn't know where to sit, but I remembered my teacher saying that I sit on the far side, so I sat at the rear, on the right side, facing the board. All I remember is that I sat by myself on the right side on three of the three tables. In front of me was Brittany, Ronnie, and Amy M. From left to right, as I sat facing the board, from my perspective, it was hard to see from that angle. From my perspective, it was hard to see from that angle. The red was like really hard to see, but when he wrote blue, my teacher wrote blue. It was clear from my distance where I was sitting. It's like the furthest. Then we had to revise questions. Not revise. Answer the revision questions that refer to the perspectives of the story, the blind side. Then it was religion. Got my religion book back from my teacher as I entered the room, with my deep voice. And our assignment is due next week, aka week 2. Anyways, we just watched a documentary from ABC about Oasis and its programs helping teenagers that are homeless, like that are drug addicts and jobless and that. I had PD then, practical. We all got dressed, moved to the college hall, even though it's so cold. I was surprised of how many people brought prac clothes, including me. Then Sir instructed the boys to get the balls and get it ready for volleyball, because for the whole term too, we're doing ball games. They done it, but Lisa, I was like wondering why most of the boys can't put it in the hole for the second one because of Sam D, Ellie, and John N. As I agreed with Lisa, because like it took them more than a few seconds compared to Gibran, you know. We first had to do a drill or to practice. We were divided into two teams because it was already set up from where people went, and it never worked. We never stood in the circle like where I was in the group. You know, sometimes you see Manu playing with a basketball trying to go for a layup, but it would be usually caught by Charbel and shot by him, obviously. Anyways, our hands were clenched like prayer hands, and then our thumbs would be sticking out like parallel. And if it was unless you do a diamond shape to hit an oncoming strike, if it was high and you wanted to slow down the speed because of how fast it was. We did good, of course. Gibran and Charbel, like the best because they're athletes. Bryce was fine. Jimwell was okay. Karen tried most of the time, followed by Mary and Eileen would mostly just stand up, hardly reacting. And last was me. I was alright. Participated at least, not caring about my skills, but I would hit it high at least. When it was the real game, it was 6v6, Charbel, Gibran, Mary, Eileen, Jimwell, and Neil versus Sam D, Daniel S, Ellie, John N, Manu, and Karen. We were losing from Samuel D's serve and vice versa, because Mary was appointed as the person serving in our team because she was like at the rear on the right side. Later on, Samantha G joined our team while Celine N joined Sam D's team. We eventually stopped because we ran out of time, and then we got changed. The score didn't matter because it was just half of our class doing practical. Then I had maths. Got new seating arrangements. I sat at the middle column and also sat in the middle facing the whiteboard while Grace was on my left, and Daniel was lucky he sat anywhere, so he sat on my right side so he could copy my answers, the usual plan. For the whole lesson, we worked on this booklet. Our new topic is graphs. The first things we learned is gradients. You know, the usual x and y locations and equations, the 2D mapping formula. You know, all that. I didn't mind where I sat or who sat next to me. All the questions were easy because it's just the beginning of the topic. Obviously, it gets harder. That's maths. Then I had Timber. We done theory in R21. Laptops were to be placed in our bags because Sir is sick and tired of our class mucking around. He gave a speech about the plans and what's going to happen. We have to finish this portfolio properly, and our deadline is on week 2. I think on Friday, or Thursday, so we could get this mental clock done before the end of the term. He's really serious and he can hardly speak because all of them are shouting from the previous class. We just had to do 5 drawing / designs in class for the mental clocks. We also got to complete. We also got the complete marking criteria, which is the most important. And at the end of the lesson, this was to be completed at home because Sir is going to teach us how to use Vectorworks for the technical drawing for in class for the rest of the whole lesson in class for theory. Tuesday, 21st of April 2015. Went to school and lined up for homeroom. Our homeroom teacher was laughed at because what do you call it? My class. Just to let you know, this isn't my homeroom teacher. It's just a sub. My real homeroom teacher will be back at Sem 3, or aka semester 2. Anyways, like everyone's like laughing at the sub homeroom teacher because like she got wrecked because of like it was raining heavily that day, and then her umbrella was like flown and it just like broken. Like I was, and then my friend, she was like, "Oh, why don't people wear raincoats?" I was like, "Yeah, instead of umbrellas," because I agreed with her. Because like, and then she replied, "All I need is a hat." I was like, "Yeah, just get the hooded ones." She's like, "Yeah, that counts as a hat." As we entered the homeroom, most people looked at me strangely because how I was wearing gloves, and I was also listening to music. Then I finally survived the Y2K crisis when I eventually entered the international network with the help of Miss. And my name was listed for the people to go to college hall in period 5. Maths, we just did the workbook. Y equals mx plus c or b, which is pretty much finding the gradient. Then I would copy me just to get some, if not most of the answers right. Then I got told off by the I didn't get told off. Got told by the teacher to sit in this spot at the back next lesson. Gia got our exams back. The highest marks were 21 out of 25. It was Karen, Sarah G, and Bryce. Then we gave them a clap, the whole class, obviously. I saw my mark. It was better than I had expected. I was going for an A, but instead I got a C, where I was 1 mark off from getting a B. But then I'm like to Jim, who gives a shit, man? It's Geo. It's not like you're in the military or ever going into the wilderness because of the quick growth of urbanization. I got 16 out of 25, and Jimbo got like 13 out of 25, 12 out of 25. I can't remember. Well, John N, he's like the furthest. Funny thing is, he got 17 out of 25. He only started for like the last minute, and that was just for the people that was able in it, because there's 3 of us, me, Jamal, and John. John's the furthest, he's closest to the teacher side. Anyways, then we went on to paste our title page. The topic for the term is communities in Australia. The first worksheet was about population and demography. English received the worksheet and had to complete them in class for the whole time. Brian chose to sit next to me. He's so distractive. But he's so funny and laid back because he finishes the work before me, then ends up talking, and he's always planning to throw a paper ball across the class. It was disgusting. I was scarred for life. Puts the fucking paper ball up his undies and he was planning to chuck it across the room into through the window. Just stupid. And then I had religion. Miss booked us into the library, so we worked in our groups and organized who's doing what or what's happening. So we worked on it, did a short film on John, more of a video diary of our progress. Miss came to our group and suddenly she's amazed how me and Jimwell wrote a song and John ends acting as a homeless person. Then I took out my hip flask on my pocket. It took me a while to get that hip flask. John's wondering what the fuck, and then he saw it. Then Callum and Jim was surprised. And then I was surprised how Miss didn't say anything. And then I gave it to John so he could could touch it and shit like that. Then Callum took it and showed it to his friends Manu and Jamesville across the library from one end to another. Callum came back and he was he was asked by Bryce if he could see or use it, but then Callum was like, nope. Then the bell rang as John was about to act and we were gonna record him. And then after lunch I had music. We went to the college theatre, and it turns like I had music, yeah, but I was supposed to go to the college hall for period 5, the people chosen in homeroom, and it turns out I was one of the few people that were invited to go to the excursion of the University of Western Sydney. I was surprised I was there. I'm not actually that smart. Some people were athletes, and others, if not most people, were from the top classes. Anyways, our year coordinator handed us our permission slip as we left from each elective class as they were being called out from the students he pointed from. I went back to class with Jesse and Maverick, and I gave Helen a permission slip / note because she was supposed to go. After that, I gave the note. I sat down, did my part 2 for a while in class. Eloise was away and Ratu's back because work experience was shut down because it was raining heavily that day. Jezebel sat next to the Fijians, Manu, Ratu, and Thomas as they moved into the piano rooms next to the other music classroom. Jezebel struggled the whole lesson to enter the internet until Helen done it for her at the last few minutes of period 5. Last period was science, chapter 4. We discussed microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, viruses, diseases, and homework was to find 20 infectious and 20 non-infectious diseases. The majority of the lesson, I was watching and listening to Charbel because he got a whole list of deadliest diseases online from list 25. Then the bell rang. Went to the train station, and Adrian's a fashion jihad, looking like a Muslim terrorist or an ISIS militant, as he wrapped his scarf around with his hat to provide cover from the rain. Because this week has the most rainfall, or this last few days has been the most rainfall in the whole decade of Australia, or if not Sydney. I mean, just Sydney. Some trees fell down, while some suburbs had flooding and destroyed houses. Then it was Wednesday, 22nd of April 2015. Maths, half of our class came. Sat with John and did fine for about 75% of the time, while on the last few questions of finding the gradient or y-intercept confused me. John's just laughing at me. He was actually right that he drew triangles, as Susie confirmed it, because she sat in front of us. Because they're both smart. Smarter than me, obviously. And then it was religion. We went into our groups and worked on the assignment. Reached a negotiation. We did a video, and John's homeless, begging for money with a sign while drinking alcohol. As I entered the scene, as he begs for me, it looks like I'm trying to help him, but from listening to what he says, eventually I get pissed off at one point, throw away his box where you put the money, and the camera was hit because of me, because I hit the box. The camera, which is actually the phone, John's phone. Bryce was the cameraman, but we needed him because the video requires 3 people in it, and Jimwell was away that day. Aside from that, Gibran, Nicholas, and Charbel E was just watching because they're also doing a video outside. And it was good, the whole video. And then I had Gio continued on with the Australia's population worksheet for the whole lesson on Dick Smith interview on the 7 p.m. project. Then it was English, received our assessment task that is due on week 3. But Sir said that we'll go through it on Friday because half of the class is not here instead of the assignment. We continued on our previous work, which was the worksheets on the setting of the film The Blind Side. Then it was Timber. The class was only 2 tables. Sir showed us how to use Vectorworks for a while. Then we continued to work either on the Vectorwork drawings or finish our portfolios. PD, we had a theory lesson. It was a good lesson. Sir discussed with us where people got wrong in the exam last term. Then we moved on to our new topic, sexual health. Told us how John Howard couldn't answer a simple question where he ran campaign to be Prime Minister over a decade ago. That question was from a journalist asking, what is a family? Because John Howard promised baby bonus if people voted for him. Then everyone tried to answer that in our class, what a family meant. Everyone tried, but I got it at the end when I said, connection. I was just mumbling under my breath. A family doesn't necessarily need to be blood related or through genetically similar people. A family is a connection of people with relationship. Basically, half of our class. And basically half of our class wasn't there. Karen, Jim Will, Manu, Daniel S, Sam D, Ellie, Linda, Eliane, and Celine N wasn't there that day. Maybe there was more people away, but I just can't remember. Let's just go find out recap.